And as a young man, he was summoned to the wars. Spent his best years with blood on his hands.
Hey guys, it's HomoMoto. How you doing? We just left Olive Garden in Decatur, Alabama, and I want to tell you the food was amazing, but far beyond the food was the service. I want to do a shout out to a very special lady. Her name is Amber Joy. She was our server. Oh man, she made me do it. She forced me to. I don't like fettuccine Alfredo. I never have. I've had fettuccine Alfredo in some really expensive restaurants, and I just don't like it. So, I was torn between either chicken parmesan or lasagna. And, I mean, I didn't know which one I wanted. So she told me about this dish called the Tour of Italy. The Tour of Italy comes with chicken parm, fettuccine Alfredo, and lasagna. And I'm like, I don't like fettuccine. I mean, I like fettuccine, but I don't like Alfredo sauce. And she goes, look, try it and see if you like it. So we had some Alfredo sauce on the table for our breadsticks. My niece had ordered it. So I dipped my breadstick in the Alfredo sauce, and oh my God, what have I been missing? Guys, I have had fettuccine Alfredo at some of the most expensive restaurants in Memphis that serve that. I've had it at a few other restaurants. My mom has tried to make it once or twice, and so has my sister. I just don't like it. But this was amazing. So she told me that since I didn't hate it, that she thinks I should try the Tour of Italy, because I would get the two dishes that I wanted, and I would have the bonus of the fettuccine Alfredo if I decided to eat it. Wow. I'm a big guy and I like food. When I put this stuff in my mouth, it was like heaven on a fork. I don't know. But she was kind of insistent about that I, try that. And also there was some kind of, I can't remember what it was. She said it's basically like Italian chicken and dressing and chicken and dumplings mixed together. And I can't remember the soup, what it was called, but it was amazing. And I was going to get a salad, but she's like, try the soup. So I did. So, Miss Amber Joy, you opened my eyes to something that was way above and beyond what I expected. I found my new favorite restaurant. And my new favorite dish at that restaurant. I mean, it was a lot of food. Every one of us that was there, it was my brother-in-law, my sister, my nephew, and my niece. Every one of us had quite a bit left over to take home. And I usually don't do that because I'm kind of a piggy. I ate it all. But the dishes, the servings were just huge. And the service, man, this lady was very personable. She said she was born to work in restaurants. So she's worked in several major restaurants and for a long time. But if you guys can request a server and you go to the Olive Garden in Decatur, Alabama, you need to request Amber Joy. I'm telling you, man, her personality, she's super friendly. I think a couple of us was having a bad night, and she really, really cheered all of us up. It was just, I can't even begin to describe. But here's the bad part. As we're getting ready to leave the restaurant, we're out there talking. I'm putting a new battery in my GoPro because I shot up a whole battery worth of crap that I can't use. So I was changing my battery, and Decatur Police Department rolls up. He rolls up really aggressively. He jumps out of his car. He's like, we got a report that somebody was driving recklessly on a motorcycle. And we're all like, look, we just walked out of the restaurant. He's like, well, I got a report. Well, he ended up leaving with his tail between his legs. We had proof that we had just left the restaurant, but Decatur PD is like that. I have been pulled over 5 or 6 times in the last 4 months, and all but one of them was from Decatur PD, and none of them were legitimate charges. The first time I got pulled over in Decatur, in that time frame, I was in my Kia. I used to have a Kia Soul, and I had it decked out with lights, strobes, because I've told you I'm an emergency responder. But I got pulled over by the chief of Decatur Police Department in Decatur, Alabama, and he approaches me and tells me that the lights that I have in my car were illegal. No, I've got an emergency responder tag on my vehicle. Well, he wanted to see what color the lights were because he said we have reports of somebody impersonating an officer and pulling people over. And he said the lights were blue. I didn't want to argue with the chief of police in a town like Decatur where there's a lot of corruption. For example, the sheriff of Morgan County is on several, or has been in a lot of trouble with, stealing money from the food budget and things of that nature and using that money to open a used car lot. So, considering the level of police corruption in Decatur, I wasn't about to argue with him. So I went ahead and flipped the lights on, and they were obviously red and yellow in the back and red and white in front. And he wanted to see identification where I could have the lights. Talk about pulling someone over with that PC. If the lights aren't activated, it doesn't matter what color they are. He didn't see me do it. Nobody called in on me. He just saw the lights and decided to pull me over, which is an illegal stop. I've been in law enforcement. I've got friends that still are. This guy had no reason to pull me over at all, but he did. A couple months later, I get pulled over for the same reason. The cop says, "Hey, you got lights on your vehicle." I'm like, no joke, read the license plate. If you have an emergency responder license plate, yeah, we can't run them rolling in the state of Alabama, but if we're on a wreck scene, we can and need them sometimes. So this guy was like aggressive, and I said, "Look, man, you need to call your chief." I've already had a conversation with him about this a couple months ago. The next time I got pulled over by DPD was I have a strobing brake light on my motorcycle because the 2006 Kawasaki Vulcan 900 Classic has a really shitty brake light. So shitty, in fact, that I was going to work one day, back when I was still working a full-time job, and one of my employees about rear-ended me because he did not see my brake light. The very next day, I put a strobing brake light on my bike. It only strobes when I engage the brakes. But I was told by another DPD officer that that is illegal. Well, one of my buddies that happens to work at the police department in Alabama told me, that is not illegal, and he recited the law to me. Gave me the code and everything that I need to look up, and I did, and sure enough, it's not illegal. I don't know why Decatur thinks they are above the law. They can do whatever the crap they want to anybody and not suffer any consequences. I guess because the sheriff this time has gotten away with so much corruption. The sheriff last term, Greg Bartlett, has gotten away with so much corruption, both over the food budget. These guys were basically taking food out of the food budget, or money out of the food budget that was meant to feed the inmates, buying corn dogs, feeding the inmates corn dogs, and pocketing the rest of the money. What's really jacked up is at that time, it was not illegal in the state of Alabama. But since he did it, a consent decree was ordered saying that in this county, you can no longer do that. But she chose to do it anyway. She claimed that her attorney advised that she could do it. So she took the money, invested in an illegal used car lot, and it failed miserably. So somehow or another, she was able to come up with the money and reimburse the state or the county for the money that she took. She's not a wealthy woman, so where did she get the money? Don't know. Doesn't sound too honest to me, does it, y'all? Everyone keeps talking about how great of a sheriff she is. Yeah, she comes down hard on drug dealers and stuff, but I wonder how much of the stuff that they get actually goes into evidence. I know a lot of people get tired of people saying back in my day, but I want to tell you, back in my day, police corruption was very rare. Stealing evidence was very rare. Lawrence County, the department I used to work with, my first police department, has also been found to have misplaced evidence and ongoing investigation against a family member of mine. It's just one thing right after another one. The bad part about it is I have to go through Decatur to get to my hometown, which I do visit occasionally, and I have to deal with, am I going to get pulled over? What are they going to, try to pull me over for? Law enforcement nowadays is not what it used to be. And what's bad is friends that I have that are law enforcement, that are actually friends of mine, are honest. It makes it so hard on people like them to do the right thing and to not get accused of crap when you got so many officers that are stealing money, setting people up. Just, they're worse than the criminals they're trying to arrest. I don't get it. It almost makes me, I wish I had the health that I could go back into law enforcement and internal affairs and shut these idiots down.
I was a storm and I passed right over you, and I tried to eclipse the sun in the hopes that you love the tumble and spray in your face, and the sky broken by light.